Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome to another episode of Things We Have to Discuss, a place where we enlighten, encourage, and edify.
How you doing? Hope everything's going well for everybody. I'm back with another episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. I heard this one guy on podcast saying that he wondered why black people are treated the way they're treated throughout the world. Why people treat black people the way they treat black people constantly. I've even heard some situations where saying blacks are not like throughout the world. Black people are quote unquote the boogeyman of the world. I've heard things like that. These are things in which I've heard. And they talk about their treatment in different parts of the world that they may have traveled to and so forth. And I somewhat agree with them, but you gotta understand, like these questions would not be asked if they had biblical understanding, It clearly states in Deuteronomy, you'll be scattered into the four corners of the world. The nation shall abhor you. You'll be referred to as bywords and proverbs to the nations, which is true. Outside of God's favor, you are treated that way. You looked at like that because how black people were treated throughout history. And it goes back, it's biblical. I would tell everybody that it's all biblical. The Bible professed that you be scattered on the four corners of the world to be enslaved. Did not happen. Who was scattered on the four corners of the world to be enslaved? No group of people were scattered on the four corners of the world to be enslaved, but the African. From the Africas, who landed in Jamaica, who landed in different parts of South America, and landed in the Americas as well. Because of our disobedience toward God, it was spoken of from the book of Deuteronomy. I've got a chance to travel. Because I seek to have a better understanding. He's definitely rendered favor to me. I can see how blacks are looked at, whether I'm visiting for a long period of time or a short period of time. As long as I respect myself and I seek the honor that God has rendered upon me versus dishonoring myself, like dwelling in my flesh, and all that comes with the fleshly desires. As long as I stay away from that and I walk in virtue, then the respect and the favor remains. But the minute I step outside of virtue, then all other things will follow, all the curses. It's sad to know that. I'll tell you one thing though, being an African American, the treatment toward African Americans in America is probably one of the worst treatments in the world. And I've traveled. It stems from generational racism in this country. Don't forget America. America housed slavery. This is one of the countries that's occupied by Europeans that housed slaves here in this country for a long period of time. And it's unique to that because not a lot of the other countries did. Brazil did, but the Europeans that came to Brazil were imported. After the whole movement was over, the population had dwindled. They had to import Europeans to Brazil in the 1800s. So our situation in the U.S. is extremely unique. But racism is extremely prevalent in the U.S. Undeniable. You can't miss it. If you get the opportunity to leave the U.S., you're going to feel like it's a surprise because you think, what they say in media about African Americans, what they push in media with the popular opinion about African Americans throughout the nation, this country. You would think that you're hated throughout the world, but it's not the case. When you leave America, people will embrace the men of color with open arms, believe it or not. European countries, Asian countries, Latin countries, you're embraced with open arms. Now they can and they will look at you in a very with a side eye if you don't carry yourself in a certain manner. And if you don't, say for instance, resist the fleshly lusts, they will look at you with a side eye because they know traditionally how people of color are treated. No, yeah, the treatment is not as harsh as it is in America, but they know how people of color are viewed and are treated. So, the argument about why we treat us that bad, I mean, I always go back to scripture. Moses put us before us a book of blessings and a book of curse. And I would urge any person of color to research the book of Deuteronomy, and just listen to everything in which is spoke in terms of the curses that were promised, in terms of the path that would take them down toward into slavery and the things that would happen. I mean, everything came to fruition 100%. And that will give any person understanding about why African Americans or blacks are treated a certain way throughout the world. Luckily enough for us, all that has came to fruition, God's word has fulfilled itself. The promise has fulfilled itself. Now, it's slowly going to ease off us. Popular opinion is going to change. It's not going to continue on the path of the way that it was in terms of the views because his word had came to fruition. The cup is gone from us. And now he's going to punish the nation that took his people into bondage, which is going to come to fruition. And it's coming to fruition now. He said, I'm going to punish the nation that took my people into bondage and bring my people out with favor. Now he says he's going to punish the nation that took his people into bondage and bring them out with favor. Some people ask him, what does that mean? Anyone that participated in the transatlantic slave trade, all the countries that partook in the transatlantic slave trade, is going to be punished for it. Now, all the curses that happened and that was professed in scripture, it's not totally over yet. It's going to phase out, but it's not totally over yet. But what's going to happen next is he's currently going to punish the country that took his people into bondage. So the question is, do I believe that? 100%, I believe it. I not only believe it, I see it. It's real time. I've got a chance to travel. I see how blacks can be viewed. I see how you can allow yourself to be viewed by walking in virtue as well. So he gives us the option, honor or dishonor. But the scripture says, most time, man chooses dishonor. So, but with that being said, I urge you to research that chapter, book of Deuteronomy, book of blessings and curses, so you can have an understanding yourself. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. And you have a wonderful evening or a wonderful night or a wonderful morning. You take care.